I'm here with Denis Potvin, who is a former professional athlete, hockey Hall of Famer. So Denis, tell me a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into advanced myographic technologies and your involvement with them.
Well, I played 15 years with the New York Islanders and was captain of the 4 Stanley Cup teams. And in my opinion, the best team that ever played in the NHL, but that's another story. Why I'm here is a very personal thing, because when I met Ray many, many years ago in New York, we always talked about sports and what was the consequences of our game on the body. We had a conversation and I said, don't we do a lot of the same things? We perspire, we get mad, we show courage, we show, hesitancy. And all of these things actually are traits in a professional athlete. And you always like to have sort of the idea of how do we get that athlete to that point. So in particular, I was concerned about dehydration. And I have personal experience with that, unfortunately. There were some times during my career that dehydration was such a problem that I, as an individual, ended up getting cramps, and it was a long rehabilitation. I mean, 24 hours, 36 hours before I could get back into the game on a comfortable level. So when I met Ray, we started talking about the Curo. My question was, can it help dehydration in an athlete? And he said, absolutely. Of course, we went to Dr. Harrison, who immediately says, I'm going to work on it. So that's where we are, and that's why I'm part of it. And happy to continue with this, with the plan.
So your involvement with advanced myographic technologies helps you to really see those detailed aspects, right? Tell me about that.
Well, I tell you that the one thing that I found very, very interesting was, of course, we just talked about dehydration, but then a question of the balance. If you don't have good balance, you're not going to be a hockey player. If you don't have good balance, the horse is not going to perform well, nor the jockey. So if I can just illustrate the skating stride, all right? So the skating stride is okay. Now, a teammate of mine who had to retire early, his skating stride was that meant there was something wrong with the left side. Well, what happened is that he eventually had a knee injury, and the left knee and leg was not performing as well as the right leg. So he didn't have that nice stride. It really hurt what he did in the long run. And what then happened is, because of the way he continued playing, he ended up having a back surgery and he retired from the NHL. So I think that's where, Curo could find these deficits early and then work on it and be able to bring that stride back again, and he probably would have extended his career by several years.
So it really just provides that balance that athletes are going to need. You're going to be involved heavily, right, with all the different athletes that come on board. Tell me a little bit about what the future holds for you.
Well, having played professional for 15 years in the NHL, I have a connection, obviously, with the National Hockey League. But I think more importantly, I will be carrying a message that will work for any league, whether it's basketball, whether it's college. And you know what? I think kids in the teenage years, when they're forming and developing, there's no better way.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we finish up?
We finished off by talking about younger athletes, and I think that's a very important thing for parents to be understanding of. The fact that you don't want your young athlete, boy or girl, to not have the balance in their body to perform at a high level.
Definitely a very important thing for everybody, and they can find information about the Curo and the programs that you are going to be working on the website. Thank you so much again. I'm Jacqueline with Equus Television, coming to you from Ocala, Florida.